Hello, everyone. I am David Cochran, and I'm here to tell you about the ISAR Symposium on August 28th. It's an all-day symposium, and the topic is, what the heck is astrology? What's the deal, man? Like, what is really at heart here? And so we're bringing in shakers and movers in the industry, people who really do interesting things with astrology to get as many different points of view on what's happening. And one of the people we have is right here. You see him, Cameron Allen. So I'm going to tell you a few words about Cameron, and then he is going to tell us about himself. But what I know about Cameron is he got a degree in psychology. Then he proceeds to study physical therapy, sports therapy, gets really deeply into herbalism. When I say gets into these things, taking official programs, certificate programs, whatever, and yoga. So he's walking the walk. I mean, he's learning this stuff, getting deeply involved, working with clients, applying all these different modalities. And astrology is one of the fundamental and central ones. So he's working with people, straight on. So that's Cameron. That's sort of like my glimpse into your professional life. Why don't you tell us what's happening?
Yeah, like you said, like even just like my base knowledge was coming from like a more like traditional and I guess what we call society a social norm perspective of like the body and the mind. So getting a degree in health and sports science and then psychology. And I took it further by just doing like hands-on work. Like I was telling you, out there in Gainesville, I did a lot of internship hours just to like learn more because I felt like the education that I got wasn't as thorough as I desired. And I didn't want to necessarily be a physical therapist, but I wanted to learn certain things directly from people so I could ask them as many questions as I wanted. So I could know things that just like I might have to wait like 2 years in school to learn. So that was amazing for me. And then I did like a little bit of personal training too as well. And then from there, I just started having very, let's say, nonlinear experiences in my life that really couldn't be answered by the places I had been educated from, and then from the people that I was asking. So I had to seek more, and that took me down the path of herbalism and astrology. And I was working in a spiritual supply store for the last like 4.5, 5 years before I discontinued like a year ago. And I just like I since day one, before I was even considering myself an herbalist or an astrologer, I was helping people 5 days a week, 40 hours a week. So it's like this applied application of astrology and herbalism was just so potent, it's just like trial and error in the beginning to where like I would be the one asking questions. And then in the year, people are coming to me. In 3 years, there's a line to get into the room. And it's just
Well,
like even being able to like sun, moon, or rising, either any of them or none of them, and then fusing that in with like so my yoga practice was in the beginning, it was mostly just Kundalini yoga, which is a lot of breathing and holding, retention breaths is what it's called. So giving people things that are very, very simple, like different pranayama practices or breathing exercises, especially in the community that I work in, it was, resources was a really important thing to focus on. And what I mean by that is a lot of people didn't have necessarily the resources to go do all these extravagant things. And it's like, okay, cool. We can breathe. We can drink tea. We can drink water. We can do these simple movements, right? And
yeah,
that's free. And then also
yeah,
like teaching people, you're the resource, right? Everything I just showed you, you already had that. And just
yeah.
teaching people how they're a resource. And then, a lot of people getting astrology readings with me. I had a limited amount of time for a few years just on the weekends and building my practice from that, just from like the bare bones of I know these things, and now astrology is being able to show me and teach me things. And then a few years later, I started learning more um, technical like techniques and stuff like that from different traditions. So I went down the path with the School of Evolutionary Herbalism with Sage Papam, which fused a lot of different traditions together and gave me like a really solid framework to look at everything in life essentially. And then I went to evolutionary astrology, then more like traditional astrology, and also like horary astrology and medical astrology. So being able to fuse all those things together, because I had a context of just like my own experience of life and interfacing with people, it's just been a beautiful process.
Oh man, that is. So totally, totally awesome. Um, wow. Yeah. I mean, digging in and actually experiencing working with people in practice, hands-on engagement, and just following one step after another. I mean, it feels to me like somehow you've been quote lucky, like you find, you follow one thing and then you connect to another and you connect to another and you find the resources, they're there, you tie into them and you use them. And like you said, you start off um more like student mode, and then before you know
Mhm.
it, people are saying, explain that to me, that really helped, etc. And that was very parallel to my own experience. I learned in the school of hard knocks of actual reality.
Mhm.
I always wanted to
Yeah,
learn more academically. It wasn't available, so I just had to do it. And
yeah,
um, I often say to my students now, if you want to play golf, do you sit and watch a golfer? You've got to pick up the club and swing, and
yeah.
if you want to play piano, you're going to watch the piano player. And I
Mhm.
think astrology is the same way. You got to do it, and it really helps to go with the pros, and really experience different people. But you do it, and that's what you've done. Anyway, I'm just repeating what you
Totally. Yeah, no,
are.
that's great. That's great. A reflection. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, look, especially because a lot of times I talk to people who are into astrology or students of astrology, and they're like scared to take the leap to even give information to other people. And I always tell them, I'm like, look, somebody taught us how that we should already know things before we go into it. And I give them an example of like a baby never learned how to walk because somebody told it how to. It had to actually take the step and fall. That's how it was actually learning. So the process of quote unquote messing up is the actual process of learning if you allow yourself to be open for that experience and not to think that you need to know everything all the time.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. I think we're stealing images from each other now. I'm gonna steal that one for you because that's just perfect. I mean, the learning happens through the doing. Every baby
Mhm.
teaches us that all the time. And with astrology, that's definitely the case. And there is that phobia, like I need to know enough. Because we know the responsibility, and the
Yeah,
responsibility is
totally.
strong. So,
Yeah.
there's a reason for it. But I think, what I tell students very often is just ask questions. You don't have to do a
Mhm.
reading. Just say, how do you feel about this? Have you ever been interested in that? I mean, they want to talk anyway. And then before you know it, you're asking the right question, because you've got that chart, right?
Right, right, 1,000%.
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
so, this is just totally, totally great to connect with you about this stuff. Yeah, people that have been swimming in the same rivers go like to share, and you find out that the similarities of what you're experiencing. So
Mhm.
totally awesome. And frankly, with your range of uh, tool sets, we can call it, that you work with, wow, this is just amazing. These are all the tools that I gravitate. In my life.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. Uh, wow, just fantastic. So on the symposium, let's shift over to phase two of this conversation, which is about the symposium. We have this standard question we're asking all of the speakers, which is, why are you excited to participate in this forum about what astrology is?
Yeah, there's actually a few reasons why I'm excited about it. And the first one is because it feels international. That was like the first thing that came up for me too. Even like you were saying before we started talking, it was like ISAR's international. And I was like, yeah, that's actually what makes me feel so excited about it, because I have these really interesting experiences where I do something in my practice and it started out just in the back of the herb room, and then I could feel myself like expand out into the city, to the city and the community. And then I started doing things online, and I could feel myself expand out into like the United States. And now I feel like this is another step in that journey, and it feels like the international space is it's present now, and so that feels really good, and it's been an organic unfolding. And also ESAR just has always been a, a community that I've looked towards, and just seeing the people who work with it and do presentations on it, and just you know aspire to be in that type of astrological excellence. So it feels good to be here in that space with everyone. Also, another reason why is because Mark Jones, I learned a lot from Mark Jones, and I saw that he's going to be a part of it as well. And that felt good. Like somebody that I considered to be someone I looked up to in my, like, specifically going through their course, you know, that felt amazing to be in that space with him as well, you know. And then also some people that I know work on the board at ISAR as well. And I just adore everybody that is involved with it in this current space and time. So I'm excited about it for those reasons.
Wow. This makes my heart sing to hear you say this, because this has been my dream for ESAR is to be truly international, to just grab onto anybody that's got anything to say from any perspective that's going to be valuable. And let's just focus on the astrology, and lightning strikes wherever it'll strike. You'll find people just doing creative, interesting things in all walks of life. And uh, things become international naturally. You don't have to force it. It is. I mean, there's just follow the flow, just connect with what is, and you find these gems everywhere. So yeah, and I'm on the ESAR board, and wow, what a group of people. It's amazing. I just been really happy to be part of a totally positive, creative, brilliant group of people. It's wonderful. And having people like you join in with the programs, it's just great. Okay, so I think we've covered a lot. I don't think we need to give any hints, although you could, about what astrology is or what it is for you. We don't really have to touch on that here, but is there anything else you want to say before we close the interview?
Yeah, what I would say about what astrology is, and I have many reflections on what I think it is and what I feel and experience it is, but what I can say, what it truly is for me, is a universal language device that I use to translate things so that I can be relatable to people. Because I felt like in a long time in my life, I didn't feel like I could connect and relate with people in a certain type of way. So I utilize astrology to be able to communicate and share with others, and spread love through my open heart through the language of astrology. So that's what I'll say astrology is for me, that I can say for certain. And also just an invite for people to find me at my website at www.cadreamplanet.com. You can find me if you just Google Cameron Allen Yoga Journal. I write monthly articles for Yoga Journal, and I have some other articles that have to do with herbs and yoga practices as well. And you can also find me. I just did this amazing series with Anna Zaharia, and it's called The Seeds of Light. So if you type in The Seeds of Light, Cameron Allen, Anna, and that series was amazing, because it's like to help parents with raising youth, utilizing astrology. So all those things. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Or you can follow me at CA Dream 6 on Instagram. You can follow me at CA Dream 7 on Twitter. And I mean, yeah, I'll stop there. That feels good.
Good. We almost forgot. I told Cameron before we started rolling the camera, so to speak here. I said, don't forget to tell people how to connect with you. And then I forgot about it, and I think he forgot about it. So I'm glad we got that in as well. So
yeah, one more thing, actually.
Go, man.
I did a course with Astrology Hub last year called The Health Secrets of the Zodiac. Very holistic perspective on the 12 zodiac signs. It goes over ways you can find spaces in nature to connect with the zodiac sign, deconditioning that zodiac sign, the physical processes of the zodiac sign, the emotional, the spiritual, the herbs that go with it, crystals that go with it, and embodiment practices as well that go with it. So it's a very thorough course for an amazing price. So just throwing it out there, an open invitation. You can find that through my website as well.
So through your website, which is, give them the website name again.
Yeah, it's www.cadreamplanet.com.
cadreamplanet.com. And so you did that particular program on the zodiac signs with Astrology Hub. I think everybody should know about Astrology Hub. In fact, Amanda Pula Walsh, who's the head person, I guess you could say there, she's going to be one of our hosts, along with Stormy Grace for this program. So we are connecting all the dots here, man. I mean, we're bringing in, like I said,
I love that.
movers in organizations, in personal practice, Yeah, so I'm just really excited about this symposium and bringing all this together and learning. And wow, I mean, the things you're doing, Cameron, are like, uh, yes, check, check, check. Am I interested in yoga? Well, I practice your herbalism. These are just fundamental, important things. And to get beyond just, the superficial level, to really use these tools,
Yeah.
responsibly, intelligently. What's the actual real research? What are the real results? You have academic training, and when you get some academic training, you realize the importance that it's not a joke. You have to go in and find out what's going on and what's really happening. And you're doing that. I know you're doing that, and you know, through the research and through experience. So it's a real deal. I mean, this is where we want to be heading.
Yeah, yeah,
So, all
yeah.
right.
It's been great being here with you.
Yeah, this is beautiful. Okay, my friends. So that's Cameron Allen. Another big reason, I hate salesman stuff. I am like anti-sales. Like,
Yeah.
but another reason to come to these are something like,
Yeah, totally.
it's not really,
Yeah.
it really is going to be a cool thing. Okay, guys, thanks for tuning in and being in this interview with me and Cameron. And bye all. Take care. God bless. Namaste. Okay.